system globally. The first Indian-owned vessel SS Loyalty sailed over Bombay, out of Bombay Harbour on 5th April 1919 for London. Subsequently, it was acquired by the Department of Commerce and converted into a training ship. In 1949, training of marine engineers was transferred ashore to New Engineering College at Calcutta, known as DMET, Directorate of Marine Engineering Training, with a branch in Bombay. Maritime transport is a cornerstone of international trade and a key factor dividing globalization and competitiveness. The changing maritime conditions are accentuating formal training to a greater extent. As the maritime industry competes with other industries, maritime education and training will need to address how best the students learn and sustain in the maritime field. This is because of the reason that many conditions are difficult at sea than the employees who work on the shore. Productivity of Indian maritime education and training can further be improved if the cadets are provided with real training on board the training ships in addition to simulator training. The unique requirement of the maritime industry favors the multidisciplinary learning with hands-on experience at the maritime institutions will definitely enhance the productive maritime education and training in India. Now let us come back to today's session. Hope you are all aware that we are passing through a situation where our existence becomes questionable. The worldwide pandemic situation forced us to have technical discussion in the webinar form. Let us join to enrich our knowledge through this technical webinar and know more and more in this area. Thanking you and welcoming once again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Das. Now, Dr. Bhandarkar, actually, he is probably, Dr. Bhandarkar, are you there or can you speak now? Actually, he has a big problem. His internet is slow. So he has asked for my excuse. I think, Dr. Bhandarkar, are you there? Can you hear me or can you speak now? No, I think we will skip now. Let me see if the next speaker is there or not. That Rangarajan. Just let me see. Addressed by Dr. G. Ranganath. Dr. Ranganath, are you there, please?
No, sir. Carter chairman can't join due to some preoccupation.
I see. Okay.
So,
okay. Then I think Mr. Sandeep Dev is also, he has already told me that he's going to North Bengal somewhere. He may be on the flight. He's there or not?
the screen. Vice President sir is not in the screen also.
Not. Oh, okay. And then I think this our President IEI, he was also telling me that he has got some preoccupation. Will
Yes,
he be
sir,
there
yes.
or is he there?
No,
or?
sir. No, sir. No, sir.
No.
He has not joined.
Oh.
Sir,
And
may I now request our moderator, sir, to please introduce respected President, Institute of Marine Engineers, Mr. V.K. Jain.
Okay. Mr. Jain is here, no? So I think I'll. Mr. Jain, you are there. Mr. Jain is here, no? Kinshuk, he is there, no?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Yes, welcome. I'll just give you a brief biodata and then kindly deliver your lecture. Mr. V.K. Jain is, of course, a very, very eminent marine engineer. His professional qualification, Class 1 motor, passed out from DMET Kolkata 1981-85 batch. Vocational qualifications, sailed for 8 years in Great Eastern Shipping with the last one and a half years as chief engineer. And worked in Lloyd's Register of Shipping as an engineer surveyor for about 3 years. Then has been running, it is his own company, running Newtech Maritime Services for the last 25 years, which is primarily involved in thickness measurement on ships and technical consultancy. At present, of course, we all of us know He is the president of Institute of Marine Engineers, India. Welcome you, sir, and please kindly deliver your address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gautam Sen, for your kind words. Dr. Nirmal Das, who had delivered the opening address, Mr. S.K. Sarkar, ex-director of MERI, and other dignitaries. I can see Commander Dr. Bhaskar Bhandarkar, although he has not spoken, but a warm welcome to everybody and thank you for having me here. It's indeed a honor and a privilege for me to stand in on behalf of the Institute of Marine Engineers at this webinar of yours, which is talking about the evolution of maritime training. I think Dr. Nirmal Das has given a small brief as to the run-up. However, since we are talking about the evolution of maritime training, I may take the opportunity to run through once again the various institutes, how it has evolved, what we are likely to do over the next few minutes in maritime training at the risk of repetition. So as we all are aware, or we may be aware, that maritime training was introduced, was thought about by Mr. P.S. Sivasamy in the year 1926 in India. And in the parliament, the Indian Mercantile Marine was formed under the Ministry of Commerce, and 1927 was the first training institute, so to say, which was T.S. Dufferin, which was started. Now, T.S. Dufferin was a concept at that time, and they only started with, I think, something like 25, 26 cadets. Every year they used to take into T.S. Dufferin. And it did yeoman service to the nation because it had, it stood, T.S. Dufferin stood for almost 67 years. The last few years, it was off Masgon Docks pier in Mumbai, almost last 45 years rather. And during the course, it trained almost 2,000, over 2,600 cadets, if I can say. It also, in addition to navigation side, to the deck side, it trained engineering cadets right from 1935 onwards. And its very first cadet in 1927, Ramdas Katari, went on to become the chief in commander-in-chief of the Indian Navy. So that is the importance of T.S. Dufferin. We have many of our seniors, including, let's say, the very renowned Captain J.C. Anand, who is instrumental in creating Indian Register of Shipping. He is an ex-product of T.S. Dufferin. Next, T.S. Dufferin, as I said, stood till about 1974. For it did service for about more than that, for about 67 years. And T.S. Rajendra came into being in 1972. And the importance was that the vice president actually at that time, Shri G.S. Phatak, inaugurated it. And it was built by HSL, and it was handed over to the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in April 72. It was inaugurated a little later on April itself. And it was, it has its name T.S. Rajendra after the famous King Rajendra Chola. So it trained 125 cadets per year, and during the course of its time, I think there was an increase and a decrease of the intake based on the, we all know that shipping is a cyclic profession. So it at some time the 125 years 25 cadets were increased. In some time, the course, which was originally scheduled for 2 years when we started. It was reduced to 1 year. And then it was felt that there should be a degree accorded to the graduates of T.S. Rajendra. So they tied up with Bombay University and they increased the course for 3 years, giving a nautical science degree to everyone who was graduating from there. So T.S. Rajendra also did fantastic service to everybody, to the Indian shipping industry in particular, and it finally shut down after 21 years, and once again it was located off Mazgon Docks in Bombay. Subsequently, in 1993, we saw the birth of T.S. Chanakya, and T.S. Chanakya, it was felt that a greater number of cadets was required, and so it was a land-based installation with a much greater potential. And the then shipping minister, Mr. Jagdish Tytler, in 1993 inaugurated it, and T.S. Chanakya still stands today, and it is still very much in existence. So this I have been talking about a lot of institutes which have served the deck side. If I can talk about the engineering side, the very famous MARY, the Marine Engineering and Research Institute, started in 1949 as DMET, and it began operations in August 1949. I think we have the ex-directors here, so the lesser amount I speak about DMET, probably better they would enrich us with their knowledge about the whole thing. But I also have a very close bonding with DMET. My father happened to be in the third batch of DMET in 1951. He joined, and I remember him used to tell me that he had a Hobson's choice. He had a choice whether he could join DMET, and in that very particular year, 1951, IIT Kharagpur began operations. Of course, IIT Kharagpur was not known to anybody at that time because that was the inaugural year. And of course, he chose DMET, and whatever had to happen, happened. But if we are to compare, let's say, DMET with the IITs, although IITs are much more flashy and they have people who are all over, but if we consider the pass outs from DMET, I think vis-a-vis the IITs, which come out with so many students, I think we are definitely good in comparison. We have our graduates, our alumni, so to speak, who are in very senior positions across the globe, in various positions across the world, as I said. And definitely for so many alumni to have to be involved with the shipping industry in such very prominent positions, it's indeed a matter of great pride, and I think it's a great honor, a great privilege for DMET to have been to have such wonderful people who have graduated from there. I will skip DMET a bit because I'm sure there will be other people who will be discussing it. I believe there is a panel discussion also, and but we are very proud. Having been an alumni myself, I'm very proud of it. And in fact, just 4-5 days back, 6 days back, on September 10th, there was a meet in Singapore where the alumni met, and you'd be surprised to know that there are 350 plus alumni of DMET over there. So you can imagine the export of potential or the export of talent what India has given And this is, we are only talking about Singapore. But nevertheless, anyway, to continue with my story, with a little bit of history, I'll just run through the latest. This thing is the Indian Maritime University, which was established in 2008, and it has multiple campuses, whether it is in Chennai, in Kochi, in Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Vizag, and this was created as a result of some committee which was formed under the late Dr. C.P. Srivastava, who was the Secretary General of IMO. So this was, IMU came about as a birth of, from this very concept of the Comet Committee. And I dare say it is involved considerably now in the developing of training institutes all over the country. A lot of training institutes have been amalgamated into IMU, and whether I do know that National Maritime Academy in Chennai, the Indian Institute of Port Management in Kolkata, the NSDRC in Vizag, everything has been amalgamated into the IMU. But looking at a holistic view, taking a holistic view, I do remember in the 70s, 80s, right up to 1996, if I can be correct, that there used to be only DMET, which was the authorized or the reputed college, which was approved by the Indian administration to provide a degree course. And the other people, students who came out from various workshops, etc., that was the difference. I mean, subsequently, there were some private sector maritime training institutes like Shipping Corporation of India in 1974 set up their own MTI in Bombay. In 1974, SCI did set up its own MTI, which was mainly for their captive interests. However, subsequently, they did open it up to the various people all across the world. And can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had some pop-up on my this thing. So I was mentioning we had public sector MTIs coming in, and in 1996 onwards, we have had private sector MTIs. The whole training, institutes being the whole chapter being opened up for private training institutes. We currently have more than 160 training institutes which are approved by DG Shipping all over the world, all over the country. And I think there is a considerable amount of surplus of cadets which are available to the country. And that brings me to a very interesting topic as to this surplus. As we know, maybe perhaps everybody may, there are over 1.7 million seafarers across the world, and there are about 10% of this, more than 10%. There are almost 235,000 plus seafarers who are provided from India. And India ranks probably third or fourth, I think, or maybe within the top 5, definitely, of the number of seafarers. It's probably third in the category of officers and fifth in the category of ratings. Indian seafarers are generally considered to have very robust basic school education because we have a 60% liability requirement. We have tremendous analytical skills and problem solving abilities, very hard work, intelligent, knowledge of English, etc., etc. So they're generally preferred, but not to say that Philippines ranks number one, and with China, Russia, Ukraine competing very hard for these 1.7 million slots seafarers, we stand challenged at all times to produce seamen, seafarers who are very skilled in training, and it continues to remain at the forefront that our training must improve at all times so that we remain competitive and our cadets may continue to get absorbed across the world. Now I see that there are some cadets also here, I presume, and they must be wondering how can a person say that there is so much of need when we find it so difficult to get jobs when we graduate from here. So I think this is a bit of a paradox because whilst it is estimated that by the year 2025, there will be a shortage of almost 150,000 seafarers across the world. At the same time, India produces cadets, and there are almost, I think, close to 5,000 cadets every year who don't get jobs. So this is a bit of it's a bit of a paradox, and it's a bit of a thing which needs to be thought about because at the lower ends, the cadets, whilst they do not get jobs, at the senior positions, be it the chief engineers, the second engineers, etc., we find that there is a shortage of globally. There is a shortage of senior members, senior officers across the country, across the world. So anyway, that's as much as so far as to how much we have come. So going ahead, I think it's very important that we continue to innovate, continue to develop our training methods in order to promote research and development, in order to train our people with skill sets which are required so that they get jobs and they become good engineers. And this could mean a lot of training in, let's say, simulators, and with cloud-based simulators coming in, it could mean a lot of training in hydraulics, in electronics, in different subjects which were not there in the past. And we have to definitely train our cadets into all of these things because this is what the future is. Last, before I shut down, I close my address, I just like to talk a little bit about the Institute of Marine Engineers, which I represent here. And the Institute of Marine Engineers is a 13,000 strong member body. Maybe it's not as big as the Institution of Engineers, which is holding this function, this webinar. But yes, we do have a place of our own. We're probably in the marine sector, one of the largest professional organizations in the world. We have 8 branches and 5 chapters across the country. And last month, on the occasion of India's 75th Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we've inaugurated 3 chapters which are international. So we have opened up chapters in Singapore, in UK, and as well as in Hong Kong for the first time. So we're very proud to have marine engineers who are part of the Institute of Marine Engineers, where they will be able to contribute their skill sets and assist us in disseminating information and remaining things. It's a big change. From 1977 onwards, for about 45 years, we were existing in India. In fact, we had grown out of the IMRS, which is a UK body, and now we have a branch office in the UK, and we have the potential of taking in UK nationals into the Institute of Marine Engineers. I think it's a proud moment for us, for our country, wherein we can actually, where we are growing and spreading. Uh, as far as the IME is concerned, I mentioned that we have 8 branches and 5 chapters. We are going about our objective of disseminating information. We are trying to develop a training center in each of these 8 branches, as well as abroad, maybe sometime later. And so therefore, probably become the largest training institution all across the country. I don't think any other institute can have the economies of scale what we enjoy, and to consider that everybody who is a member is doing it out of in an honorary capacity. Most of the people are working all in honorary capacity, like Mr. Gautam Sen. He is the chairman of the Calcutta branch, and I think if we are able to develop ourselves to grow, we will be able to provide a large service to the maritime training industry. We are already moving ahead in a number of fronts. I think we have digitized our library. We have got simulators. We are now getting another simulator for an IGF course, which is wherein we are one of the 2 or 3 organizations which is approved, as you may be knowing, due to the thrust of the government, or shall I say worldwide, to reduce greenhouse gas emission, to reduce to zero fossil fuel consumption. There will be a tremendous growth of gas fuels, and we have a course which has been approved by DG Shipping, and we are already started running it in Bombay. We intend to start it in Calcutta as well. So we hope that with these, with the future, with the thinking, we are also looking to start a research center, and also an incubation center for students, for startups actually, in Bombay. So one has to continuously keep thinking out of the box, keep developing itself, and hope that you can match, stay abreast of modern technology, and continue to train students who would then add value to the whole ecosystem, so to speak. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I really didn't know, sir, how much time I had in hand, but after noticing so many fallouts, I have gone through it in a fair amount of detail, whatever I wanted to speak. And I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You have done a great job by extending your lecture. Otherwise, really, there would have been some problem with the timing. Thank you. That's very nice lecture. Thank you, sir. Commander Bhandarkar, can you now?
Yeah.
Position,
Yes, I could sort out. Yes, I could sort out my problems.
Then
yes.
Please give a brief.
Okay. My friend from Mumbai, engineer V.K. Jainji, a young, popular, and dynamic president of Institution of Marine Engineers. Just now, he explained the roadmap for future engineers and future progress of marine engineers. Dr. Nirmal Dasji, enterprising chairman of West Bengal State Center. Engineer Gautam Sen, the man needs great respect and kudos. He is the brain and strength behind this webinar. Distinguished faculty, my friend Mr. S.K. Sarkar, I think Mr. Ishwar Arun Kishore is not here today or may join later. Members of Institution of Engineers and Institution of Marine Engineers, participants, distinguished members, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. At the outset, I congratulate Marine Division Board Institution of Engineers, IME Mumbai, and West Bengal State Center for organizing such a relevant webinar on one of the pressing issues for the mariners. The importance of effective training is not new to us. We know more we sweat in peace, less we bleed in the war. Now, this subject, today's webinar is on training, historical development of training. Whenever we think of everything, the quality element is always there. For me, the dimension of quality training can be broadly summed up as functional, which involves interaction with the stakeholders like communication, courtesy, interpersonal relations. The second dimension is technical, which relates to the offering by the institution, by the staff, and by the faculty. It involves competence and conformance. The third element is academics, which relates to teaching and what we teach, that is course content. According to me, I think in all of this, the human element, the teacher, is of the pivotal stage. My friend Mr. Jain has given a beautiful roadmap for all of us. But he also knows, and we also know, we need service-oriented, dedicated people who are working selflessly for this promotion of this cause. So this teacher is a pivot of this dimension. While the distinguished faculty like my friend Sarkar shall give you insight to other things, I would like to share my views on the importance of teacher's role as a servant leader of the student. Ladies and gentlemen, servant leadership is the advanced practice and the theory of leadership. Many of the Fortune 500 companies, they are successfully running their organization with the help of servant leadership. Here I would like to explain what is servant leadership. Is he our servant or is he our leader? So here the Victorian notation of servant who works for the payment is not in this concept. The servant leader is the one who is inspired by the service to his follower, and then to get the collective goal of the group, he becomes a leader. So there is a difference from regular leader which we see to the servant leader. Regular leader, their motto is to amass wealth and material property, where servant leader motto is to serve the society with the honorable contributions. Now, I would be short. I have given you the importance of servant leadership. Now I will tell you, in education field, we need servant teachers. So how do we identify servant teachers? What are the attributes of servant teachers? Mr. Larry Spears, the follower of the servant leadership, has listed 10 dimensions of servant teachership or servant leadership, which are accepted world over. The first is listening. Listening to the students with an open mind and open heart. Second is enthalpy. Second is empathy. It is a discipline, practice, and ability to sense and understand student sentiment and perspective. Third one is healing. It is a care for students' output. Teacher cares about students' well-being and wants to improve the condition of students' lives and circumstances surrounding the students. Thus, teacher promotes health and overall well-being of the students. The fourth point related to servant teachership is persuasion. Servant teachers don't push, they pull. They don't try and force people to their views or way of doing things. I mean, whatever I say is the law. No, that attitude is not there with the servant teachers. They believe in win-win situation for all the stakeholders. The fifth dimension is awareness. Servant teacher must know accurately what is going on within themselves and others, and what is happening in their immediate and broader environment. The sixth point is foresight. It is the ability to see and make the most of possible outcomes. It involves thinking ahead, planning and preparing for the unknowable, and understanding the long-term consequence of actions today. This requires rich understanding of the past and present behavior and circumstances. The seventh dimension is conceptualizing. Servant teachers see the big picture, the holistic view. They understand it and can describe and work effectively with the big picture. Like they know the parts and they also know how they fit together to make a whole working engine or working assembly. The eighth dimension is commitment to growth. Servant teachers are committed to personal and community learning and development. Teacher manages his or her own behavior and situation to get most of the students in development sense. Ninth is stewardship. Stewardship is the acceptance of responsibility for protecting the rights, property, and welfare of the students and acting with best intention to do so.
Commander Bhandarkar, can't hear you. Commander Bhandarkar, I don't know, something has gone wrong with your system, I think. We cannot hear you at all. No, Jain sir, what should I do?
So I think maybe somebody can fill in and call him up and request him to. I think quite obviously he has a signal issue at his end. So we may request him to get off and get on again. And meantime, if
Yeah, I think.
anybody wants to talk for
now
make this an interactive session in the meantime.
now this will be this thing only. No, now I mean the panelist will start. So
Okay.
I think let me talk to Kinshu. Can you hear me, please?
So his video seems to be frozen, which normally happens when there's a signal issue. So do call him on his mobile and ask him.
Then I'll call him on the mobile. Hello. And you're, I think, you're absolutely frozen.
Oh, ho, ho. Oh. Now can you see me?
I can see you. Yes.
Okay, now, okay, okay. ठीक है.
So we can hear you now. I think you were going through the 10 points
Yeah,
and
so I said the
7.
benefits of servant leadership could be the greater appreciation and sensitivity to diversity, indicating more inclusiveness, more meaningful and relevant lesson, having greater and more enduring impact, learning beyond the classroom and examination. Students feel empowered and capable to demonstrate increased confidence, reduction in competitiveness, richer relation between students and teachers, more expressive students and greater acceptance of emotionality. Thus, the benefits of student teachership are many. And if we want to have a realistic, meaningful outcome developed by our students, there is a necessity to adopt the servant leadership practice in our training. Marine Engineering Division, Institution of Engineers, in its effort to promote the excellence in the maritime domain, has facilitated the availability of distinguished personality to share their vision on today's topic. I am confident that the participant would be immensely benefited by their vision. I wish all the participants a very informative and useful webinar. Finally, I thank West Bengal State Center and staff of Technical Department, Institution of Engineers for arranging such a relevant webinar. I also thank them for giving me an opportunity to share my thought. Thank you indeed. As coming to Institution of Engineers, we are a body of 20 lakh members. It was incorporated by Royal Charter in 1935. This year, recently 2 years back, we have celebrated our 100th anniversary. This is the prime body of engineers comprising of all the divisions, all the sections of engineering. Our aim is overall growth of the engineers, their welfare, their benefit, and we act like umbrella body for all the engineers and take all the different disciplines of engineering together and try to have some programs, schemes, and vision for the improvement of technical engineering and technology skills in this country. Coming to marine engineering, with the help of our sisterly organization, Institute of Marine Engineering and other Institute of Naval Architecture, we try to bring the discussion, programs, seminars, conferences, workshops on the different aspect or future of maritime domain. And so far, we have not got into the particular training related to the marine engineers. We remain aloof from that, and we don't have any plan. And with the help of our sisterly organization, which we are working in tandem from many years, Institute of Marine Engineers, collaboratively, we will do many things for the betterment of marine engineers fraternity from the India. Thank you very much. Shano Varuna, Jai Hind, Jai IAI. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I am enlightened with this servant leadership concept. I didn't know about it. Thank you very much. Okay, sir. Bye. Thank you. And now, I think, gentlemen, now I think we'll have to go to this panelist section and the actual lecture. Now, I'll give a, see the first lecturer will be Mr. S.K. Sarkar. I mean, both the panelists, Mr. S.K. Sarkar and Mr. Ishwar Arun Kumar Kishore, they do not know, need any introduction for the marine engineers. No? They are absolutely bright enough, so they don't need any more focusing on them. But anyway, this is, I mean, part of my job. So I think I'll have to give a brief description of what is his topic and what he is trying to tell about. Mr. Sarkar's topic is on the expectations of maritime industry regarding higher studies and development of technology, which will include widening scope of employment. And I think I'll give a brief biodata. I mean, then you can know why he's so famous. Professor Sadhan Kumar Sarkar has 29 years of teaching experience in marine engineering design. He also has 12 years of experience as chief engineer at sea with India Steamship Company Limited, Calcutta, Garwar Shipping Corporation, Mumbai, and Mercury Shipping Company Limited, Hong Kong. Professor S.K. Sarkar has served at sea for 12 years and shore-based industries for 6 years. He headed Mary, Kolkata, and Mumbai during conversion of their institutions into university. He was directly involved in formation of Indian Maritime University, Chennai. Professor Sarkar has authored various technical papers and Institution of Engineers and other seminars. He has authored the first, this is very important, he has authored the first textbook in India on design and operation of marine machinery and systems. He is a consultant on inland water transport development. He is also an examiner with Government of India for marine engineer officers. So, I mean, I'll request now Mr. Sarkar to kindly go ahead with his lecture. Please, Mr. Sarkar, please, sir.
Dr. Nirmal Das, Chairman, West Bengal State Center. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, please.
Mr. Commander Dr. Vandarkar, Chairman, Marine Engineering Division Board, Minister of Engineers. Mr. V.K. Jain, Chairman, Minister of Marine Engineers, India. Mr. Gautam Sen, Chairman of Marine Engineering Division Board, Marine Engineering Division, West Bengal State Center. Mr. Arun Kishore, Director in charge, Indian Maritime University, Kolkata campus, and all other the dignitaries who are present in this webinar. I wish a very good evening to all of you. Today we have gathered to discuss the progress of maritime education in India. And when we talk about maritime education, it goes along with training. And in maritime field, training comes first. We consider training first, then education, because that is the thing which is most useful. I have captioned my presentation as maritime education for widening scope of employment. In fact, today, this is one of the key points, most important for all the students who are undergoing maritime training and education. Mr. V.K. Jain has made my job very easy. He has told various aspects in the background, and he has given a lot of statistics about the status or position of India in maritime field, maritime sector all over the world. However, I will try my best to throw some additional light. In fact, my main issue is the advancement in education after and the role of universities of India in that respect. So may I request Mr. Gautam Singh, can you see the full presentation? Okay, I have to share the screen. I'll share the screen. First, let me share the screen. Is it showing full
yes,
screen
yes.
or
No,
showing
I
full
mean,
screen?
Maritime
It is showing
education
half, no?
widening scope of presentation.
Sir, kindly make
Okay.
it full screen, sir.
Full
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. I'll make the thing full screen. This cannot be seen for just a minute. Is it? Can you see it
No,
now?
thoda. If you can make it slightly bigger.
Yeah, yeah. Just I slideshow. I'll make it slideshow, and then it will be okay. What is the position
Yes.
now?
Yes, yes. Now it is okay.
Better, better.
Okay,
Yes.
better. So today's topic is, I mean, of course, the main theme of this webinar is progress of maritime education, and I have captioned my topic as maritime education for widening scope of employment. So I will also repeat a bit of background history. Please excuse me for that. And so the background of maritime, rather I would say that marine engineering profession. In the maritime field, there is one navigation field and other is engineering field. And from the first day of shipping, the navigation, it started with navigation. But engineering field was introduced afterwards. So maritime history of the world started with sailing ships powered by wind and sea currents. People with general education sailed on ships under captain and then became navigators. In fact, so as I told you, in maritime field, the practical experience and practical work comes first. No matter how much knowledge you have to take the ship from point A to port B through the rough seas. And how to tackle the situation, that is completely your competence. There were navigators, and that is officers, and many healthy dynamic persons who were employed as sailors on ship. Not like today, that if you are just fit enough to move around, you can be an engineer on ship or navigator on board. But earlier, you had to be strong enough to take all the thrust from the rough sea. Marine engineering as a profession, after invention of steam engines, ship builders started installing steam engines on ships. This practice introduced a new profession on board ships called marine engineering. So this engineering profession came to shipping field or maritime field with introduction of after invention of the steam engines and installation of steam engine boiler on the ships. So what is the advantages of the steam powered vessels? So powered vessels guaranteed higher speed. It required lesser manpower. It requires lesser, it had lesser problems related to crew management. In crew management, all of you know that mutiny on ships. There used to be hundreds of crew on ships. because those were sailing ships, rowing ships, or wind current as sea current assisted ships. And they had to fight also with the pirates. Lesser space required for accommodation, food and water. This is with the powered vessels. So when the number of crew reduced, so accommodation of crew, food for the crew, water, all these things reduced. So that resulted in more cargo space. So this is what is a sailing vessel. You can see how many people are there. Okay. And in this rough sea, controlling the vessel was really master's job. Okay. And the captain, who we used to call master, is a master of everything. Okay. And everybody he used to be called old man. Okay. And a really old man used to be master of vessel, captain of vessel. And this is steam powered vessel. And you can see that it requires less manpower. Of course, when I say less manpower, it was not very less, because for these engines, we were using a lot of people for, boilers, stokers. Okay. So they had to feed tons of coal to the boiler and operate so many complicated machinery. So on top there is a screen. Can I ship this somehow? It is anyway. So challenges of steam powered vessel. So steam powered vessels, so good. They could give guarantee of speed and many things. But what are the challenges? Challenges were development of suitable engines for use on ship. If you have an engine ashore, so that is stationary. So the forces on that and the other various forces on that is less compared to the ship's engine. So developing an engine for the ship's use, developing a boiler for the ship's use was a challenge. Next is operation and maintenance of the engines at sea. Okay, you have given an engine on ship. At sea, mid of the ocean, if the engine stops running or any part break, then there is nobody to assist those engineers who are on board. Okay. So that was a challenge. And that is what I told you, that the engine breakdown at sea. So operation and breakdown, these were more challenging than developing an engine. Because for developing an engine, there were a lot of skilled people, engineers ashore available. But when you are at sea, you had nobody to help you other than the people who are on board, okay, to tackle the operation and breakdown problems. So a new group of engineers designated as marine engineers came to the market to overcome these challenges. Okay, these challenges. Otherwise, see, ashore mechanical engineers could develop engines, but operating the engines at sea and maintaining that challenge is not that anybody could take that challenge. For that, the marine engineers were most important. Now, I have already mentioned that marine engineer has unlimited problems at sea. You do not know what will happen. It is unpredictable. Sitting ashore, you cannot say that this will happen, what will happen. And he had limited resources available with him. So with limited resources, a marine engineer is required to solve unlimited problems. So that means he must be competent enough to take the challenge. So a term, this competency came, it was there, but it became more important, important for marine engineers, considering safety of life and cargo at sea. All the governments of all flag states or the countries where the ship belong to, all the cargo owners all the classification societies, they require only competent engineers to be employed on ship. An engineer may have PhD or any amount of qualification, but he cannot be placed on board ship unless he is certified competent for doing the operation and maintenance and also have knowledge about the development and design of the varieties. So competency is more important for navigator, engineers, or crew of a ship than book-based knowledge. Having book knowledge without the ability to apply it on board is of no use. Training and education policy of International Maritime Organization is therefore that KUP, the STC 78, 95, and 2010-11, everywhere the importance is on KUP, knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. So the persons on board, he has to understand accurately what is to be done, what is the problem. If he doesn't have the proper understanding, if he doesn't have the proficiency to solve the problem, he is useless on ship. And that's why this is the principle of education and training for marine engineers who are going to serve on ship or at sea. Training in India. First organized training for officers was started in India in the year 1927 on board TS Dufferin, training ship Dufferin. Mr. Vijay, the chairman, Mr. Marine, yes, he has mentioned about this. On recommendation of an expert committee, education and training of engineers was shifted to Shore-Based Institute, Marine Engineering College at Calcutta, under Directorate of Marine Engineering Training in the year 1949. Aim of these two institutes, T.S. Chanakya, which was replaced by T.S. Rajendra, and thereafter, after T.S. Rajendra, the training of the nautical officer was shifted to T.S. Chanakya, which is a shore-based institute, and DMET at Calcutta and Bombay. Aim of these two institutes was to train up competent marine officers for operation of maritime fleet of independent India. Basically, before independence, all the ships, even that first India steam navigation, all the ships used to be manned mostly by the Europeans. And then slowly the Indians started coming in. Performance of these two institutes have been excellent. And ex-cadets of these institutes are managing many of the shipping companies today all over the world. They are everywhere. And all shipping management, they are involved with that. Shore-based support. I've already mentioned that for powered vessel, the engine has to develop ashore on. So shipping industry also require manpower for shore-based activities like shipbuilding, engine and ancillary manufacturing, commercial activities and others. These jobs do not require competency certificate. University degrees adequate. So we have two groups. The people who are ashore providing support, they need not be competent. I mean, they are competent for shore job, but they need not have the competency certificate from the government to board on ships. So they give the shore-based support. Courses on ocean engineering and naval architecture was started at IIT Kharagpur in 50s. So immediately within 2 years of DMET, first marine engineering training was started, education and training started in Calcutta and Bombay. And this IIT Kharagpur started naval architecture course, but the capacity was very low and inadequate. Because there's demand for the naval architects all over the world. Again, India's position in shipping world. Now, Mr. Jain has mentioned that it's third or fourth. Yeah, there is not a very specific record, but India in one of the DG website, I found that saying that India claims to be the fifth largest supplier of seafarers in the world. This is one claim, but I also verified that there are Russian, Chinese, Russian, Ukrainian, and Philippines. These are also leading, and they are ahead of India. But the officers, as far the officers goes, our officers are very competent, very knowledgeable. But even then, there are a lot of competitors who are officers. So this, the credit goes to, I have mentioned two maritime training institutes, that TS Chanakya, Dufferin, Rajendra, and DM. Even all training institutes for the crew and everything, they are being mostly headed or controlled by the ex-students, alumni of these two institutes. So we can give big hands to these institutes for their excellent service. Now, what are the areas where employment, like scope of employment in maritime sector or shipping sector? Employment of Indians in other shipping services is not significant. Like India is, say, DG saying fifth, or somebody saying third, fourth, whatever it may be, within 5 positions. Rank is for the seafarers. That is the outcome of the two institutes. But what about the other services? There are so many other services. So there, the presence of Indians are not so much, which you can mention about. For example, say, number of shipyards in China is about 1,200. But number of shipyards in India is only about 30 or so. We are far behind them. But we are a developed country now. But why is this? We are so low compared to our neighbor. India does not play much role in ancillary industry for shipbuilding. Ships, yes, we build ships, but the ships are to be built by auxiliary machineries. Where are they produced? Not in India. We have to import them. Presence of Indians in ship design, research, development is not significant. Like the seafarers, marine engineers are there, nautical officers are there, seafarers are there. Go anywhere, Indians are present. But where are the designers? Where are the researchers? No, you cannot find them much. So that is our negative point. As a weak point. Comment. Now, considering this, that yes, we are doing well in competent seafarers, officers, but we should do much better. And at the same time, our weakness, our deficiencies must be covered. So for that, in 1992, a expert committee on maritime education and training, chaired by Dr. C.P. Srivastav, who was the General Secretary of Secretary General of United IMO. So that committee recommended, a committee was formed to advise the development of maritime education and training facilities in India. What was the recommendation? To establish Indian Maritime University, number one. Number two, subsume 4 government maritime institutes in the university. What are 4? DMET Calcutta, Bombay, TS Chanakya, LBS Kamsar, and two DMETs, one Chanakya and LBS Kamsar. Initially, that was the plan, that these 4 institutes will form the university and open new campuses in various locations in India. But subsequently, when the university was formed, it was felt that there are some other institutes like NSDSC, NMA in Chennai, NSDSC in Beirut, and IIPM at Chennai, at Calcutta. They are also related, attached to the shipping services. So they also should be included in the IIM. And that's how all these were included in IIM. And it was decided that Chennai will be the headquarters. And there will be campuses. The recommendations were to promote higher studies, research in various maritime fields like efficient technology, maritime science, maritime law, shipping management, fishing industry, exploration of ocean beds, and similar activities. That was the recommendation of the committee. So on that recommendation, IIM was formed in 2008. Though various institutes of national importance, various universities and institutes of national importance were conducting courses in maritime field. See, at that time, the Bombay University was conducting BSc Nautical Science course. Jadavpur University conducting DMET, that BTech Marine Engineering course. IIT Kharagpur Institute of National Importance was conducting naval architecture course, ocean engineering naval architecture course. Vizag Andhra University also was involved, but the effort was not concentrated. Okay. So the government decided that established Indian Maritime University in the year 2008 through Indian Maritime University Bill in order to make organized approach for development of maritime fields. Okay. So that is the time the first Maritime University came into India. Okay. So the objects of the university, I'll not read out all, but the first object I'll read out because that's important for us. To facilitate and promote maritime studies, training, research and extension work with focus on emerging areas of studies like oceanography, maritime history, maritime law, maritime security, search and rescue, transportation of dangerous cargo, environmental studies and other related fields, and also to achieve excellence and other things. Okay. So this is the broad object of the university, Indian Maritime University. There are others which are quite general, so I am not reading it out. Then came Maritime Vision 2030. So which was passed, which was declared by the Prime Minister. And in the chapter 10 of MIB 2030 Maritime India Vision 2030 includes India's plan to become top seafaring nation with world-class education, research and training. We are very fortunate that Indian Maritime University has considered IIM Kolkata campus to be developed as the center of excellence for marine engineering studies. University has procured several simulators, workshop equipments for training of cadets. So there are a lot of things being done by the university. And it is about 14 years have passed. So a lot of changes have been done. courses have been developed. An area of concern, now, even with these activities, we always know there will be some areas which are to be covered. So an area of concern for the university which need in-depth study, the employability of the cadets. A good number of cadets are not being absorbed by the shipping companies despite vacancy. Now, Mr. Jain said that there are a lot of vacancies, but again, there are a lot of unemployed. It's a paradox. Why is this happening? Of course, one of the justifications is the vacancies for the senior posts, and or the people are not going to right place for appointment. Whatever may be the cause, reason, that people are remaining unemployed. Now, for the case of that IMU, the mother organizations like BMET, Chanakya, there's ex-cadets, the alumni association, they generally come forward and try to extend help to the university campuses to improve employability of the students. That the alumni associations of both nautical and engineering side, and they are doing. Now, we have to think that what are the other ways? How can we reduce this unemployability? For your information, like at the time of changeover to formation university, I remember I was handling the situation, like I was working. So at the time of passing out, those who were cleared, those who didn't have supplementary, that was also about 10, 15 was. Others were all absorbed. Now the intake has increased. So we have to do something so that these people also can be absorbed. Now here, now with the university, when we were these maritime training institutes, so we were conducting only the degree, the competency-oriented degree course. Means any student who is being trained or educated here, he aimed for obtaining certificate of competency from mercantile marine department. But the university is for widening the opening. We have to go, we cannot have only target that go for MMD examination, have competency certificate and go at sea. There are so many jobs to be done. And they are very lucrative jobs, very high paying jobs. Actually, we have to target for those jobs. Now, one thing can be like so many students are joining. We find, this is our just general feeling, that there are many students who consider the marine degree as one of the degree like other streams. They may not like to go to sea. They may like to go into the research and development or other commercial activities. There are some. So this thinking, this attitude should be, we have to make use of this thinking, that there should be more opening. The people who want to be attached to the studies, academics, so there should be opening. Those who wants to have the work at sea, so competency-based stream should be there. Reading too many books, too much of theories, that is not very good for doing competency-based work. As I told you, if you read too many books, but you are not able to solve a problem on ship, then you are not useful. Shipping companies will not like those kind of cadets, students. So we can diverse them in various ways. So they will go for various, streams. So, there are some people who are good in practical. So maybe they can have a 3-year course. For 3 years, they can be in the college. and then they can go to the ship and obtain competency certificates. The system should be developed like that. And afterwards, they can come back, have 1 year in the institute again at his, whenever at his convenience. He comes and re-register and get his degree and again go for higher studies. So we have to, like busy shipping, they got it's very strange how a person can be marine engineer, competent marine engineer. So like that, we also can have. Yes, there are some, but I think we can think in this direction that so that everybody, there should not be a bottleneck that everybody is trying to at the end of the year go and join ship, and there is unemployed people. So if everybody goes into different directions, then this situation can be worked. In line with the objects of IMO, the university may explore possibilities of diverting the cadets in various areas of shipping industry, such as shipbuilding, management, research in maritime field, or other shore-based professions in India or abroad. Students who are not interested in sea jobs can follow the above-mentioned routes. Shipping fraternity has high expectation from the first maritime university, naturally. When university was formed, there are so many people used to come and join the meetings, and they have high expectation. And that is how we have, I think, 7 campuses, okay, of the university. They have opened up. Like Kochi is there, then Pondicherry. I'm not very sure right now how many are operating. So they have expanded. And other university, with respect of, I have mentioned issue that unemployment of marine engineers or nautical officers. Skilled manpower for maritime sector can be developed who can be employed in other countries in the similar manner like IT sector, engineering and medical. Now see, you go to IT sector. IT sector, there are so many institutes. They are giving education degree to the students. And what are they doing? They are going to the other countries. The other countries, the IT sector flooded with Indians. Medicine. So many doctors are successful doctors are working in other countries. Engineering. Engineers, they go outside in other countries and they work there. So they are earning foreign currency for the country and solving the unemployment problem of the country. So we can think in this manner, the army can think in this manner, that we have to not target the shipping job. We have to go for different jobs. And in the shipping field, different jobs are there, which we have mentioned in the past, earlier. Now, research and development, the areas. What are the areas? Research and development. Shipping industry is passing through high demand for new technology in the areas like pollution prevention, renewable energy, green fuel, artificial intelligence. Now, there can be research on all these fields. Development of safe, efficient coating system for ships and marine structure. Yes, the coating, the harmful paints for the marine structure, that is causing a lot of problems. So there is a hurdle towards the green ship project. For green ship, you have to have the paints which are not harmful to the environment. Development of ballast water treatment processes and technologies. Development of new material for low temperature, high temperature application, corrosion resistance properties, etc. So research can be done in this field, and people can be involved in this from these institutes, from IMO. Students of IMO can be involved in these activities. Research area, green fuel. Use of ammonia and hydrogen as fuel is the principle of building green ships. So there's a big requirement. Right now, IMO has come out with the requirements EDI, EXI. Next stage is to have carbon um, uh, like carbon free fuels. Okay. And then ultimately like the decarbonization, that is the ammonia and hydrogen. Okay. LNG, LPG, these are being used now, and future fuel will be ammonia and hydrogen. Now, there are a lot of scope for research on production, transportation, storage of ammonia and hydrogen safely and economically. Yes, hydrogen is good, safe, but how to transport? Okay, if it is a shore-based industry, yes, you produce hydrogen and have a pressurized tank and store. But what about the ship? Your space is limited. So we have to find out ways how you can bunker, how you can store hydrogen, how you can use it. Okay, there are a lot of research. Now, experimental ships are being developed. Other countries are involved in this research. But where is India? IMO can be involved in this. So IMO can think on this, in this area. So conclusion is that arrangements for education and training of officers and crew have helped the country to take leading role in supply of crew for the world. Indian Maritime University has been set up to help India occupy the driver's seat in maritime trade and technology. In order to meet the target of Maritime India Vision 2030, IMO has to produce high-skilled technical manpower who would take leading role in development of shore-based technical support to the shipping industry. And that is the way out of this bottleneck which is being created, and students are held up for employment. They are only depending on ships. I don't think that should continue. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for enlightening us. Now, next speaker will be Mr. Ishwar Arun Kishore. He is Associate Professor and Campus Director, IC of IMU. He will discuss on various actions taken by IMU and other universities in India since formation of Indian Maritime University. I'll give a brief biodata of Mr. Ishwar. I mean, for Dr. Nirmal Das and Dr. Raju Basak, I mean, other day we had been discussing that everyone who participates into this above 60. So, I mean, this Arun Kishore, I can tell you, he is on the right side of 40. So I think Marine Division, I mean, can claim little bit of applause for that. Okay, now I'll give biodata of Mr. Arun Kishore. Arun Kishore graduated from Mary, Kolkata in the year 2001. He worked as a seagoing engineer till 2012. He worked as a chief engineer on chemical tankers between 2008 and 2012. Subsequently, he worked for a short time as a LPG terminal safety engineer and as a chief engineer for dredging. He was a scientist in erstwhile NSDRC Visakhapatnam. Currently, he is pursuing PhD at IMU in the area of shipboard LNG storage. He taught various subjects on marine power plant, process and piping systems, naval architecture, marine heat engines, refrigeration, and air conditioning at UG courses. His noteworthy publication, I mean, in collaboration with someone else also, Ishwara Arun Kishore, Misra SC, and US Ramesh. Topic was introduction of natural gas, a comparative study of its storage, fuel cost, and emission for a harbor tug. And second one was A.K. Ishwara and P. Sandelya, numerical computation of POL off rate, that is BOR, in shipboard LNG tanks. Paper presented at the Cryogenic Engineering Council in 2021. Mr. Ishwara, please.
So, good evening, sir. Thank you for the good introduction. I hope I am audible, right, sir?
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
Sir, good evening, all the dignitaries present here, especially Dr. Nirmal Das, Chairman, West Bengal State Center, IAI, Commodore Commander Dr. B.M. Bandarkar, Chairman, Marine Engineering Division Board, IAI, eminent Sri V.K. Jain, President of Institution of Marine Engineers, Sarkar Saab, my teacher and our former ex-director of the institute, now called Indian Maritime University, Kolkata campus, and Shri Gautam Sen sir, chairman, former chairman of Marine Engineering Division of Kolkata Port Trust. So, so speaking to the last, is quite challenging. Though the topic has been spelled out to you, I will do a slight readjustment. Looking at most of the talk on the topics have been covered by Jain Saab and Sarkar Saab also. So I'll just put it in a sum up, sir. In the light of the recent developments. One of the recent developments that we saw in marine engineering training or academic courses is online learning, online examinations, or something like that. And also what we have seen at IMU is a complete revamp of the curriculum to meet the future challenges. The challenges are very clearly spelled out by Sarkar Saab earlier. We are facing in a situation where we have a vision, sir, MIV, Maritime India vision we have in place. We have also say the goals that are there for us, that in the main academic stream, we have the new education policy. And also we have the mainstream academics, which is striving for cutting edge research. Now, when IMU, that erstwhile training centers, premier training centers like Directorate Marine Engineering Training or MARI, has been brought under a university scheme, we are in a very, tricky situation. On one end, we have to meet the expectations of the employers, because ultimately, whomsoever pursues a course, he has to be suitable for the profession. And on the other side, you have the requirements of a university to be fulfilled for the award of the degree, and also its standing among the peers. That is where the maximum challenge is in the current situations. Looking at into all the things is quite a challenging. It is something what we can do is optimization. We cannot achieve excellence, instantly. For achieving excellency is a long-term goal. At least we have to fit into the frameworks or among the constraints that we are facing. So I will just to sum up what I would do, sir. I will just introduce the new revision first, how we have done it. That will tell actually how we are looking at marine engineering in the present times, and also how we are trying to bridge to the future. In that regard, I'm fortunate enough to be involved in two syllabus restructurings. So that is the BTech Marine Engineering syllabus, which is now followed all over the India. It is a 2021 revision. And also very recently, we have revamped the master's program in marine engineering, which is offered at IMU Kolkata, which I'm going to show you the gist of it, what we are trying to do. How it began, sir, the syllabus restructuring for BTech started with collecting the information right from IMO model courses. I will share a few presentations that I have, how we started it all. We started something with this kind of Excel sheet, sir. It is an Excel sheet, but now I'm showing it to you in PDF version. What we have done here is something like this. I will zoom a bit so that the audience also can see it. We started taking all the IMO model courses which are being recommended at STCW. We have taken all the functions, topics and functions. We have also taken all the hours, and then we try to group the topics under the main headings: marine, thermodynamics, electrical machines, electronics, automation, mathematics, material science, naval architecture, fluid and hydraulics. We have tried to divide how many hours roughly the STCW code is demanding, because that is the basic minimum requirement that is expected out of the course. So first we meet the regulatory thing and also the expectation of the industry, and then we can try to achieve the objectives of IMU, which Sarkar Saab has spelled out. In this regard, so once we collated all the information, we have summed up the number of hours and all. What we have seen is that roughly in about 3,000 odd hours for the entire 4 years, we can completely meet the criteria of the industry. The standard STCW modules, everything will be covered. And if you look at the mainstream academics in India, this is where IMU has to also appear among the prominent institutions of India. So we have the liberty of using the rest of the gap between the minimum mandated hours and what is the normal practice which is followed by other premier institutions. That many number of hours we started using it for bridging, say, for the future requirements, whether it is in data science, whether it is in artificial intelligence and machine learning, whether in increasing, say, the computers and the hydraulics, pneumatics and other things. So that is how we looked at. So we try to first identify where the baseline is for the regulatory compliance, where is the academic, mainstream academics, what is the difference, how we can capitalize on it. That was the approach that we employed in UG. It worked out. We could successfully list out all the things. It was a painstaking task, but we have done it. It lists out everything in grouping and how much it is requiring. So once we achieved this part, we looked at the NEP, new education policy, what it is asking for. The new education policy, fortunately, it favors marine engineering because it asks for multidisciplinary content. It also talks about, say, bringing some, shape. The mainstream academics also was way off from the industry. That they try to bring it to the industry focus. That is also benefiting marine engineering, because marine engineering, it was doing actually the industry-oriented course, whereas the mainstream academics is the one that deviated from it. So that part was beneficial for us. So with these two strengths, actually, we started building up the UG BTech curriculum, and we achieved something like this. The UG BTech curriculum program that we shaped up is with it's in line with the mission that is promulgated by the government, new education policy, the Maritime India vision, and also in line with the objectives of the university. So what we have done, we have looked at something like this, the curriculum. The semesters, we are following 8 semester courses now, completely in the campus. And the requirement is that once the basic requirement for the award of the degree is over, students are given the degree, then they move or they become eligible to work on ships as TMEs. That is at the end of the 4th year. All the 4 years are completed in the campus. And then they move for the 6 months of minimum mandatory sea time for appearing in the competency exam of class 4, MEO class 4. So what we have done, that 8 semesters, we are utilizing it this way, that semester 1 to 6, we have included all the basic courses. Then we started slowly introducing the technological things also. We are able to even bring in the some quality improvement in the sense that the circuit reading, the symbols understanding, understanding the basic schematics of all the process and instrument drawing, which is very, very essential for an engineer. Those things we could bring it. Seventh semester onward, the professional core was given thrust. It is not that we have not given the thrust in the 1 to 6. We have included, but the main thrust, if you look at the subjects, it is given in the 7th semester and 8th semester, is an intensive practical internship. And also what we have seen is the need to do some justice as a university, because the NEP also talks about giving multidisciplinary content. So we try to utilize the space available here to provide optional dual certification for the graduates passing out. That is, the students can take certain number of credits through MOOCs, that is like NPTEL or other portal which is there. Currently, IMU approves only the NPTEL way, in pursuing through MOOCs. They can appear for certain subjects for mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, any one, depending on the choice or the preference of the cadet. He can complete the minimum mandatory credits for mechanical or electrical, and he can get a dual certification, that is the majors in marine engineering and minors in the branch which he has preferred. Here actually is the thought process which went, as I told you, we are looking for optimization at the best. So Sarkar Saab told that there would be some students who will simply treat it as a degree. Now, those people should not come to a dead stop. That was one of the reasons why we thought about including the dual certification. That these cadets should not feel isolated towards the end, because the awareness in the general population of India is not much. Mainstream academics, everybody knows in and out about it, more likely. Or if they need some guidance, they can approach a few more in the vicinity and they can get a complete overview of the mainstream academics. That is the higher educational institution I'm talking about after +2. But whereas for marine engineering, the mentors or the specific inputs are very few, they may not be available to general masses. Most of them, they lack guidance. Actually, there should be a campaign, or there should be some way of reaching out to schools and colleges, actually, telling the students at large, or the future seafarers, we can shape it up right from 10th standard onwards. I think that is the right time we should start looking at, because most of them, they prefer going for the competitive exams, that JEE or the state level exams or NEET or something like that. That is where they actually take up the career oriented divergence they are bringing. So I think it is the right time that we start looking at these slots, targeting that this is what the career about marine engineering. It's a tough life, it's professional, it is very much practical in content. What are the benefits of that particular industry? How much awareness they do? How much close to the fundamentals we are working, and so on? We can develop some passion. So those motivated students, if we can bring it to the industry, I think we will definitely meet the goals or the expectations of Indian government of being the dominant workforce of officers in the merchant marine. I think we can achieve with this kind of approach. And so I think through this particular presentation, I would like to stress again, maybe the stakeholders will try to take this idea forward of reaching out to these students early in 10th standards and 11th and all, where they can actually tweak them to pursuing courses in, say, the shipping, either navigation or engineering. That is one thing. So this is how we try to look at the engineering development in the present situation. This is the best we could achieve. So the online credits which we are approving currently, it is tied up even including with the examinations, that NPTEL will conduct examinations for those core functions of mechanical or electrical. and that particular credits will be transferred into the university setup. So this will give certain kind of say weightage, because there is a norm actually where the AICTE has recommended what is the minimum number of credits for award of minor degrees and all. So we are trying to be compliant with that. So the IMU has done a balancing act where we are trying to meet the expectation of the industry, show a career path to various kinds of students who are landing, and also provide a vertical to pursuing research that I will address, and also inculcate all the modern tools, include modern tools in teaching, learning, such. One small video which I have, I would like to add at this point, how we are trying to improve the teaching and learning situation out in the campus. For that, I will stop the share, go out and present another slide which is there. For example, usually in a traditional setup on a chalk class, the chalkboard and the normal lecture, we had great people who drew excellent sketches out here. Right? There are many of them who had wonderful skill at teaching. But now we are trying to use the technology to bring in that quality enhancement. Like, for example, this particular video, I will try to zoom a bit if I can. So in this video, I'm trying to show actually one of the tool that we are using to teach, actually to give good insights, both theoretically as well as practically, in the same blended learning. It is both classroom as well as using software for assistance. So where we can show actually students how a steam turbine would run, the fundamentals. And then we are also trying to bring in some sketches of say how the valve, here, just a few sketches from here and there in the classroom. I'm just trying to bring in to see how the competency and the degree requirement, how we are trying to match that. It's a normal valve. We try to use to show them, say how it looks and all. We have plenty of tools now available, which were not available in the previous times. We are very fortunate to have them now. We are trying to use so as much technology as possible to shape up our students and all, which is quite challenging, but within the time we are able to achieve. So what else would be there is in future, it would be all AI or even that learning. In this video, you can see how a future learning would be.
We are pioneers, bringing engineering to the next level. Create, visualize, and manipulate your 3D models. Analyze and discuss virtual designs. Evaluate concepts months earlier. United across time and distance, collaboration becomes stronger. Merge virtual designs with real components in real environments. Plan installations with...
Then also I would like to add in future how the maintenance would be. We are moving right from, say, just in case learning, because STCW or any academic course is just in case, it's a learning. Whereas the industry future, possibly it would look for skilled people who will be trained at the situation or just in time mechanism. So one of the thing I'm trying to include the video from US, I think Air Force. The video is what they have done is they have actually, they're using the Google lenses or something to play a video maintenance, and then assist the engineer to carry out the maintenance procedures. If the engineer is not familiar with the thing, he will get an instant, say, help using technology. So he can always consult actually which manual or what is the procedure instantly. He need not even prepare and come. All it requires is just a basic skill. So in this short video, what you're watching are the Army or the Air Force engineers. They are dismantling sections of turbine. They are skilled engineers, but they are not familiar with that particular equipment. What they are having are the Google Glass as assistants, in which animations are there loaded, preloaded, right from lockout, tagout to the end and recommencement of the job. Everything is planned there, This kind of work culture is called just in time. That is only at that time instance it needs to be done. Why? Because even we see that when people are boarding the ship, they need not work on the same equipment. Now, currently we are in such a situation where the technology has only 5 years of life cycle. Every new ship or the new time that it will be a different environment, different technology and all. However best we may train cadets on one particular setup, it is highly unlikely that he would get the same environment on ship. So if you look at the changing demand of the industry, we have to rethink actually where we have to target. The STCW asks for just in case, that you learn this one, you be prepared for all the emergencies, they learn even the fundamentals and all, it will tell. Whereas the industry just wants the task to be done. And also with the changing, say, life cycle of the technology and also the systems and all, one may not be trained adequately. We can bring in simulators, we can bring whatnot, but we cannot train on the system that the cadet may actually join a real shipboard condition. So the challenge is something evolving very rapidly. Where do you fit, like for example, I will show you one more video where what is the existing capabilities that we have reached up to. Maybe share the screen. I would like to show only a video which is showing actually the artificial or VR capabilities in learning, because yeah, so this is actually a VR learning environment at our campus, where you will see that whatever is being shown in the screen is actually is being seen by the person wearing this particular headgear. This headgear, whatever this person is watching, it is being shown in the TV screen. So with these kind of environments, students are getting a feel of the ship, because what we have in this 4-year course is that the access to the ship has become increasingly difficult. ISPS code is one, and the new rules that require immigration clearance also is adding another difficulty of sending the students to ship. And also they are changing very drastically. Suppose in future, what I told just now about the technology life cycle, 5 years, some new systems have come. What we can do with this kind of learning is we can simply change the software. We can simply change the software and the environments. We get into a new setup automatically. So our simulators are all touch based, So the touch based we have opted for because to match that training requirements, that today we have one type of ship, tomorrow they will be different. With hardware simulators, we are fixated onto one particular thing and they are quite expensive. I mean, central institutes, they have to depend on the ministry funding to achieve good quality training and purchase simulators. So what we have done, we have gone for touch enabled, so we can load any environment that we require for training the students. We load that and we offer training. But just in time is a concept which I've shown. We have not reached up to that particular level, but definitely we have reached up to that. We are in our thing. I think industry is not yet ready for the just in time. Maritime industry is also not ready, but we are keeping our options open. In future, if something comes out, we will definitely match. That is at the marine engineering UG level, how we are meeting the bare minimum requirements, expectation, and also the requirements to match up with the mainstream academics. I try to put it in pieces, bits and pieces, so that the viewers get a view of what is happening at this particular juncture. The second thing is the research vertical. The research vertical is very much dependent on the people, actually. Those people who are familiar with the field should actually come and pursue research. That is only the way out currently. Because those people who are knowledgeable about ships, unless they pursue research in academic environment or any other research organizations, they cannot take the things forward. So what we have done at say the MTech level, currently I will show it to you. We have introduced a course called MTech in Marine Technology. Marine Technology we have brought in, and in that particular thing, we try to structure the contents, taking into guidance some parts of contents from NTNU. That is how we develop this particular course. I'm showing it to you as a presentation here. It's the, this new version is implemented in 2022. It is currently effective for the 22 entry batch. So we defined it very clearly, what we are trying to achieve here through this particular course. It is a bridge for generating, say, qualified faculty for teaching in marine engineering, or it is providing a continued education for the seafarers. They can pursue this course, or even fresh students or the seafarers can pursue this course and then continue to complete their PhD requirements. As we know that currently that extra first class requirements are slightly away from the university norms. Because in the mainstream academic recognizes only 3 steps you can think of, that is UG degree, then master's degree and PhD. MPhil, those kind of things are not applied to our industry, so I'm not touching upon those things. So 3 points, that is what the mainstream academic really looks at. So we are trying to do that at UG level. We have said we have done some justice and optimization for the marine engineering, complying with the STCW requirements, keeping the employers' requirements in mind, and also trying to match up to the expectations of the country at large. And secondly, that master's program, we try to include what all subjects we will try to list out here. This particular course can be pursued by the freshers from other streams such as mechanical currently. So mechanical engineers also can pursue this marine engineering master's course and can look to pursue research and PhD in marine engineering. For them, we have to start with say elementary course in marine engineering, where we give the entire gist of the maritime technology or marine systems and all in a very power packed course. Then we teach them about some propulsion systems, how they are, what is the safety and environment aspects. These two talk very relevant about marine engineering. The second are the design analysis fundamentals and all, how people can actually apply fundamentals of analysis by pursuing, say, CFD structures and numerical heat transfer and thermofluid systems. So they talk about very fundamental design, core engineering, fundamental design. They also introduce the packages of, say, the 3D CAD modeler, then structural analysis softwares like ANSYS and other such softwares. They also teach students about the fundamentals of finite element modeling, then the basic engineering design, how the design happens through, say, first simulating through an engineering simulation procedure and all. For that, what we have done is we have introduced some practical laboratory where engineering simulation with Python is taught to them. Design CNC 3D printing is taught, CFD lab is there. So it is training the students with both ship familiarization, marine system familiarization, and also strengthening their design basics so that they can address structures problem, energy efficiency, and also the fluids, that is process systems, maybe the cargo carriage and such things. That is in the first semester. In the second semester, they are introduced to the dynamics of the marine vehicles, internal combustion engine from the perspective of modeling and simulation, because they have learned about the numerical heat transfer, CFD and other things that they will be using in the internal combustion engine to analyze, say, scavenge flows, say, maybe emission scenarios and all such things. Sustainable maritime technology will present actually all the aspects that are discussed by Sarkar sir, actually, the renewable sources, then how to reduce carbon emissions or decarbonize the shipping industry. What are the things which are being presently available for ship designers and all. Such things are being introduced in sustainable maritime technology. Elective subject we are currently offering in finite element method or cryogenic and LNG vessels, where we are trying to introduce them to them the gas liquefaction and use of LNG liquefied fuels, liquefied gas as fuels. So that is one part that we are offering as elective currently in this master's program. Then project management is very essential for marine engineers, that we have included. High voltage power electronic systems we have included in the second semester. So we are trying to say, show a kind of market to the freshers, both from the core engineering side, that is the mechanical engineering side, electrical engineering side, we will include from in the future. So, and also the third are the marine engineers themselves. So these three streams, we can take them as students. We can shape them up or prepare them for research in this domain, and we can strengthen the research vertical in this maritime domain. So this is the effort that has flowed so far actually at IMU. And also we are trying to link up this particular courses with some of the institutions like St. Petersburg Marine Technical University and such things. We are looking for collaboration so that there would be some student exchange joint programs and such, because the limitation on our front is the availability of faculty for these subjects, which is a very daunting task in the present scenario. So we restricted ourselves to the level where we have some expertise and we have some people who can do justice to these subjects. Otherwise, there are several, things which can be included for the master's or the PhD level. We can include many other programs. Unfortunately, but we are limited to this, but we are definitely moving, as Sarkar Sahab has said, that for bridging the gap to research and excelling both at the seafaring as well as developing research in maritime industry. Because if you look at what we have done as engineer, we have been supplying engineers for working on board, whereas the core technology development in the world happens at say the Scandinavian countries, the European and such, Japan and such places, Korea. We are very much lacking in say developing new equipment or even having an industry which makes marine equipment in India. Very few are there. Like even we don't have the basic equipment manufacturers in India. With this, we are trying to generate people who will work initially, say, as consultants or engineers for marine specialized companies which are coming up. Maybe they will try to come up as entrepreneurs also if successful, and then they will take India forward in this domain. We hope we are on track, but any suggestions from the viewers, experts and all, most welcome, because we will be able to do more justice to marine engineering with the inputs that you all will offer. I'm looking forward to receive more such offers, how we can shape this branch up. And I thank Institution of Engineers for giving me this particular brief. I came prepared actually to discuss something else, but it was addressed by Sarkar Saab and Jain Saab. So I just contained myself to just shaping up the curriculum. And that's it. Thank you, sir, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to bring up this content. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this latest updates. Now, what I like to do now is there are a couple of questions here, I think, but we are already overshot the time. So I'll give you only 2 questions, and then I'll request the people, those who have questions. I mean, the speaker's email address is there, so you can kindly write to him. These 2 questions I have written down. I'll just, I mean, any one of you, or I mean, one on each, you can kindly reply. So one question was by Sriji Sivan. Have we machinery in India to keep updated with advanced certification for knowledge enhancement as well as credential for job upgradation? I'll read out again. Have we machinery in India to keep updated with advanced certification for knowledge and enhancement as well as credential for job upgrade? Sarkar Sahab, can you reply? Because the second one is more about PhD and all that, I think. Or, I mean, if it is, I'll tell them to send it to you. I can't hear you, sir.
Sir, Sarkar sir, muted, sir, you
you have, please unmute yourself.
Yes, yes. Yes, basically, this, I'm not very clear about what his question is about, but he's talking about job upgrade. Yes, certainly, job upgrading in the sense like when we come out of the institutes, then we go to see, and the grade of the engineering certificate of the marine engineers, like it goes from class 4 to class 2, class 1, then extra first class. So accordingly, the grade of the engineering skill that increases, and with that the job also. But again, that when you are coming after completing the sea service, after gaining the experience, then you are going to various shipping jobs like the surveying, okay, or even shipbuilding, ship repair. So these are provisions are there, but only certification we get is from the market and main department, that is related to marine engineers, okay. And there are many various other certificates, like you can do higher studies and from the universities you can get certificates, or you can do courses, okay, short-term courses to get other skills. These things are possible. Okay. I think Mr. Jain, or yes, he may have something in mind.
Sir.
Since
Mr. Jain, yes, yes.
Since
Yes.
Sarkar Saab has put me in the hot seat, so I will just answer that. In a way, we are all concerned with increasing certification which is required, and like Mr. Sarkar said, this is primarily dictated by the IMO through STCW and other organizations like the DG Shipping. So it becomes incumbent upon every MTI to follow these things, and this is a process which is mandatory, if I can say so. However, the second part of your question deals with the increasing credentials for job upgrade. Now, this is not mandatory, and we at the IME have tied up with, let's say, NMIS, the Narottam Murarji Institute of Shipping, and we are conducting a course on ship management. And a lot of, let's say, technical staff in shipping companies, a lot of people who want to learn about commercial shipping and want to move on in their life and maybe gravitate from a technical to a non-technical role. They are doing this through this NMIS course. And so that, I hope, should answer your question. There is it isn't totally neglected, both the advanced certification as well as training for increasing the, I mean, for enabling the job upgrade and shift is happening on a practical level.
Thank you. Now, second question was this. Is there, I mean, I don't know this, if there is anyone from IRS, he'll be able to answer better, I think. Is there any MOU between IMF and IRS to exchange knowledge, research and development with respect to future need? And the second part, I think Mr. Ishar will be able to answer better. IMU to extend the time period for PhD enrollment another 5 years for a candidate holding MU class 1 for direct PhD registration. What is your view about this? I think asking this, IMU to extend the time period for PhD enrollment another 5 years for a candidate. I mean, I do not understand. English is a bit this thing, but if you can understand this and kindly answer.
Sir, for the PhD, we follow the standard mainstream academics timeline, sir. We cannot cut short. There are two ways in which one can pursue PhD, as a part-time and full-time. In both the mechanisms, it cannot exceed 8 years. Anyways, so I think, but for MUO class 1 candidate, directly attempting PhD is a very daunting task. However good engineer he may be, the academics require a different kind of orientation, sir. That one may feel very confident of handling a machinery, but outrightly putting it in a research paper requires a different level of competence. It cannot simply come.
It's like telling me, sir.
Yeah, sir, it is like, we are expecting that we cut the mango pieces today and we are expecting the pickle to be ready by the evening and have lunch. That I think that cannot be done. It requires some timing, conditioning timing. So how they get at IMU, what it is said, sir, that MU class 1 is fine, but minimum 2 years of teaching experience is something that a professional will be conditioned as an academician.
Thank you, sir.
But even with our experience, we find that at least minimum 5 years is required as the conditioning to be an academician.
Okay, Mr. Abdul Rashid, I think this gives you your answer. Okay, sir. And I think anybody, if there, I know there were 101 questions, but we have already overshot. So anyone who has got more questions may kindly send it by email to both these gentlemen, and Mr. VK Jain is also there. So you can, I mean, excepting me, you can send to any one of them. Don't ask me any questions. And now let me ask Mr. Raju Bosak, is there, or he has arrived, or he's stuck up in his Mr. Kisholai Sen, is he there, or I'll give the Dr. Raju Bosak is here? He's not there. I think I'll give the vote of thanks, because he told me that his area has got inundated with water, so he may not be able to reach. So probably he hasn't reached. So anyway, thank you, gentlemen. It was a very good attendance, and I mean lectures and everyone. I mean everything. I mean at least I feel a little enlightened. Like I am a little backdated, so I feel like little enlightened. So I'll first, my thank is to Dr. Nirmal Das, Chairman of West Bengal State Center. Then Mr. Dr. Bhandarkar, he is Chairman of Marine Division Board, Marine Engineering Division Board of IEI. He had been, I mean, always very active, very, very active. Then Mr. VK Jain. I mean, thank you very much, sir, for joining. And then both the speakers, Mr. Sarkar and Mr. Arun Kishore. I mean, I am so thankful to you for giving such beautiful lectures. And last but not the least, I must thank Mr. Kimsuk Sen and the office staff of Institution of Engineers for giving this platform to us. Thank you very much, and thank you. And I hope, I mean, you have enjoyed as much as I have. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you
Thank you,
and
sir.
good night.
Good night.
Thank
sir.
you. Good night. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.